Hi, everyone. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate Rural Talk Radio, where our mantra is to educate, enlighten, and entertain. The views of the guests may not represent those of the host or the station. Folks, you're going to want to hear my guest today, as I always have phenomenal guests on. If you are a caregiver, and even if you are not a caregiver, this show is for you. Because one day you will find yourself being a caregiver, and you're going to want to know what to do. What are some of the solutions where you can have peace of mind if you were still working and you're taking care of your parent or a spouse or even a child? How I wished I knew about my guest a few years ago. My guest is Ryan Hurd, that's spelled H-E-R-D, who is an author. He's a writer. He's a patent holder. He is a TEDx speaker and renowned expert in the field of smart technology. He is founder of Caregiver Smart Solutions, and he has a book, Join the Smart Home Revolution, and a mayor up in northern New Jersey. So got to give some support to my New Jersey peeps here. And I highly, highly recommend, before I forget to say this, I'm going to highly recommend Ryan Hurd is on YouTube. I'm going to have the link in the blog. His TED Talk is excellent. You learn so much about his business and how it can help you. So I want to welcome Ryan Hurd to Chatting with Betsy.
Hi, Betsy. How are you doing? I so appreciate that intro. That is amazing. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, you are welcome. You know, it could get in a lot of trouble here, folks. The Jersey guy and the Jersey gal. Could be trouble.
Exactly.
Ryan, I have to say this, and I know I told you before, I think the first time I talked to you. Folks, you have to watch the TEDx talk. You have to listen to it. When I listened to it, I was like, wow, it just like smacked me. I'm in that age group that you're talking about, and it's a stark reality of, you know, because it's hard for me to wrap around my own head that, you know, I am 65, and I will be, hopefully, aging at home. And I
you're
would like
young 65, Betsy. You're a young 65.
Thank you. Mentally, I'm not 65 at all. It varies. I'm either from a child to a teenager. I'm a big kid. And you have the Caregiver Smart Solutions, which I think is so awesome. I would love for you to tell the audience about your company, how you started it, and how it could help them.
Sure.
I know it's a lot at once. So, you can take one at a time.
That's not a problem. You know, this is something that I'm really, really passionate about. And the reason why is it goes back to my father and my father having cancer and going through chemo treatments. So I've been in the tech smart home field for a long time. I wrote a book on it called Join the Smart Home Revolution, and I spent many, many years doing that. But unfortunately, my father got cancer, and when he was getting his chemo treatments, there was this medication that he had to take, and it was on a 24-hour cycle. So if he took it at, 12 o'clock today, he would have to take it at 12 o'clock tomorrow, and it was for neuropathy. It was really important that he takes this daily and at the right time. So the first concern I had was, is Dad taking his medication? And then from that, it went into, well, did Dad even get up today? And then, of course, is he eating? And all the other things that we do naturally as humans. So,
yes,
as you kind of alluded to, we're all getting a little older, yet we're living longer, right? So there are issues that come with that, because as we're getting older, maybe we're slowing down, maybe we're having a harder time moving around, and maybe you call your loved one and say, how are you doing? And they always tell you they're fine, yet something's amiss. So the question is, what do you do about it? And for me, I'm a problem solver. So I started with my own situation, And I needed some clarity. That's really what I needed. And especially in today's day and age, right? So we just had COVID, and maybe you've been working from home for a while, and now it's time, the boss is making you go back to work. What are you going to do? And not everybody has their loved one living with them. Maybe that person lives, it could be across the street, could be across town, could be in another state. And the issue is how do you know how they're doing? And even if you can, let's say, run out of work for lunch and go there and see mom to see how she's doing, there's still gaps, right? There's gaps in the day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the night, and we're trying to kind of figure out a solution. And that's really what I'm doing here with Caregiver Smart Solutions. It was born out of a personal need, and when I started using it and telling other people about it, everybody kept on saying the same thing: we need this. And this is really the point at which technology can actually start working for us as humans, right? Because before this, the best thing we had is I've fallen and I can't get up. That's great. If you can get your loved one to wear that pendant, okay. But a lot of times, I don't want to try to change the habit of a 85-year-old. And you're not going to do it in the first place, but I don't want to try to change it. So how do I get that clarity of care for when you can't be there? And here is a way. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. And I'll tell you, Ryan, I mean, this is my own personal opinion, and I've talked to, many people doing the show. The people who have walked in the shoes of being a caregiver are very passionate about what they do, and they have come up with solutions and created businesses for a need that they had to have something, and there wasn't anything there. And one of the reasons, why I do my show is to let people know about resources like you, Caregiver Smart Solutions, to help them with my own story. There went to a point, Matt, my husband, had gotten to a point where he couldn't answer the phone. And I would be worried about him. I knew he was safe at home, but I was worried when he could no longer answer the phone. I could have used Caregiver Smart Solutions for sure, because then I could have, keeping tabs on him.
Right, and it's interesting because as you say that, think of the scenario that maybe you're working and your habit is to call your husband or your mom or whatever, just to say, hey, how you doing today? And if that person doesn't answer, we have the tendency to think of the worst. Oh my gosh, mom is laying on the phone on the floor. I have to leave. I have to go take care of it. And in reality, most likely, maybe mom's in the bathroom. Maybe mom, didn't put her hearing aids in. Maybe her hearing aids aren't charged. There could be 1,000 different things. But now, with the use of today's technology, finally, technology has gotten to the point that looking at an app, you'd be able to tell how that person is. So now, okay, she's not answering the phone. I don't know why, but, I see that she's fine. So, I'm gaining more peace of mind and more time back in my life. So that's why I get excited about, technology nowadays, especially when it's not gadgety, but when it can actually help us as humans.
Exactly. I'll tell you what, it saved me a lot of stress because, folks, I can only speak from my own experience, and let me tell you, it was very stressful to know that, Matt was home and he couldn't answer the phone, and until my son came home, my heart would be in my throat. I mean, every day. Yeah. It's highly stressful. Sure, go ahead.
Caregiving is really stressful on many different levels. Somebody had asked me the other day, what is your best advice for a caregiver? My number one best advice, quite frankly, is take care of yourself first. It's kind of like that whole plane thing, right? If something happens and the oxygen mask comes down, what do? You put it on yourself first. and then you can help the person next to you. Caregiving is a lot like that. You don't realize the burden that's put on you, and all of a sudden it becomes all-encompassing, and it's stressful, both physically, mentally. Sometimes, it's kind of, stressful from an abuse. If that person is having a bad day, you're trying to do the right thing, but they're yelling at you. It's really important to take care of yourself first, whatever that means. Go for a walk, go for a run, get some good sleep. And here,
Absolutely.
for us, at least it's a way to give you a tool that will give you a little more peace of mind, so this way you can get some time back in your life. So if you had to run out and go to the food store, you can go do that and know mom is okay. Or if you have to just go out and get some space, right?
Yes.
That's one of the big problems that caregiver has, right?
Absolutely. You're 100% correct, Ryan. How does your Caregiver Smart Solutions work? Do you put in cameras? How does someone use it? And folks, because I don't do video interviews, what I highly recommend is you need to go on the YouTube channel, and the link will be in there, Caregiver Smart Solutions, and you can see the equipment. You can see what Ryan is talking about. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, it's interesting. When you think of technology, there's a lot of technology out there, right? So let's say you just became a caregiver for your loved one. So you're trying to figure out what to do. I need a tool. I need a way to know that mom or dad is okay. So, generally people think of cameras. Now, cameras are a great technology for security, the outside of your house, maybe your front doorbell. Beautiful technology for that. But inside the house, it's not really a good technology because you have to watch it all the time. Nobody wants to watch it all the time. But number two, it's an invasion of privacy, and whether it's cameras or there's even other devices out there that are listening devices that I believe are dressed as intrusive as a camera. If it's listening to your loved one all the time, I mean, that's an invasion of privacy. So what can you do to retain that person's dignity and privacy for as long as possible, yet gain the knowledge that you need to know that they're okay, or if something's amiss, to do something about it. So for us, it was very, very important to make sure that we do not use any technology that's a camera or a listening device that's just, it's not part of my belief system. What we are using is tiny, non-invasive sensors placed discreetly around the home, and they're about the size of a quarter. And what they're doing is they're monitoring your loved one's habits. Because, let's face it, habits are hard to change, and habits are the only thing you cannot lie yourself out of. In other words, I can tell you all day long that I'm a runner, I've done a bunch of marathons, I've even done an Ironman. But I eat way too much cookies or candy or ice cream. As a matter of fact, anything that has sugar in it, I will eat. I could tell you I eat clean, but the reality is I don't, and it's because of my habits. When you're monitoring a person's habits, it's really interesting because you can see, obviously, the event. Like if a big thing happens, if mom falls, yes, we'll catch that. We know it. We'll compress the time between event and action, your response. But there's so many things that happen over time. They start eating less. They start using the bathroom more. All of these things. And looking at those habits, you gain that information, and you can make better predictions. You can basically, I can arm you with the information so you can make the best possible decision for your loved one, whether it's a conversation with the doctor, whether it's a conversation with your loved one, or maybe it's a conversation to say, Mom, I think we need to get some in-home help.
Right. So you don't have cameras, so it senses the person's activities.
Correct.
So you would know there's no activity. You don't see any activity. Something could be very wrong. and you would,
right.
check or do a police check.
You could do a wellness check. It could be as simple as, let's say every couple of days that person should be taking a shower. So we are monitoring the bathroom not only for movement, but temperature and humidity, because I want to, hygiene is really important. That person
Right.
should take a shower or bath every couple of days. And if they're not, what's going on? Or let's say, hey, my wife's Italian. She loves cooking her sauce, right? I'm from northern New Jersey. So, what if grandma has a pot of sauce on and, she then walks out the front door? If she's out there for 5 minutes talking to a friend or the FedEx person, okay. But if she's gone for 15, 20 minutes, that could be a problem. And telling you what's going on is very important. So there's just so many, and they call them activities of daily living. I didn't know that term until I got into this, but activities of daily living. So it could be even as simple as, think of this scenario. How many times have you gone to the food store, you've come home, you've put the food in the fridge, and maybe get distracted, a phone call, kids, whatever it is, and you kind of close the fridge with like your hip or your foot, but it doesn't really close. A couple minutes later, you start hearing that, kind of high-pitched ding, 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 and you're like, what is that? Then you figure out it's the fridge and you got to close it. Well, that exact same scenario can happen with our aging loved ones. The difference is as we age, our hearing, it gets worse. And that means that your ability to hear the highs and the lows start going away. And for whatever reason, every manufacturer in the world of a refrigerator uses that high-pitched ding, which grandma cannot hear. So now all of a sudden that refrigerator is open, and it's open for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Yes, grandma will eventually figure out that it's open because she's going to get up and make her lunch, her dinner, make some tea, whatever it is. But the problem is how long has it been open? And if there's leftovers, if there's deli meats, bacteria starts growing, it could be a problem. Now, fast forward to having Caregiver Smart Solutions in there. Something so simple as monitoring the refrigerator. Now, if that exact same scenario happens, 5 minutes later, you get an indicator on your smartphone. The refrigerator's been open for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, whatever you want to set it at. And now you can call Mom. Hey, Mom, how you doing? I'm doing fine. Do me a favor. Can you just get up and take a look at the fridge? I think it's open. Boom. Crisis averted. Those are the kind of things that we're doing to help you provide better clarity of care for your loved one.
Wow, that's amazing. Technology can be so wonderful when it's used properly. That's my opinion. That is really.
I totally agree.
Wonderful. Not knocking any company or the bracelets that people press, but if you have someone with a severe case of any kind of dementia and they fall, they may not remember or know how to press that button. That's just the reality, folks.
The other thing that we've learned is, listen, if you can get that person to wear that, it's called a PERS, Personal Emergency Response System. If you get them to wear it, great. I think that's phenomenal. What we've learned is, even if you can, chances are that person is taking that wearable off when they get home. And it's because of two reasons. Number one, they feel like they're safe, yet most events happen in the home. It happens between the bedroom and the bathroom, or the kitchen and the living room. And number two, they believe that it's not waterproof, so they're not going to go into the bathroom or the shower with it. Yet, everybody has heard the story or knows a friend who has fallen and has been there for a couple of hours or, God forbid, a day. So here is a solution that literally, I've got your back, whether it's mom or whether it's a friend. Maybe you live in an age-restricted community and, all your friends, you're always checking in on each other because that's what we do. But here's a way to know if something's amiss. Now, with that said, the other thing, too, is a lot of conversations, or a lot of times we'll have that conversation with mom, and mom's like, I don't need anything. I've got your brother, or I've got the neighbor. Some of the questions is, well, when's the last time you talked to your neighbor, Mom? Or what if your brother, my brother, is not around, or is on a business trip, or has family? Unfortunately, we just can't 100% count on everybody. But here is a way that at least you will have it pop up on your smart device, and you can take action, whether that's call for a wellness check, call the next door neighbor and have them go take a look at mom, or whatever that looks like. But again, it's how do we compress the time between an event happening and a response or an action?
I think it's a wonderful concept and a wonderful idea for peace of mind. People have fallen. I know people myself who have fallen and laid on the floor for days until someone.
It should never happen.
Right. What was concerned, and that's just awful. Is your Caregiver Smart Solutions, are they allowed in assisted living facilities?
So yes, with an asterisk. The great thing about this product is whether mom lives, in the home that you grew up in, or mom is in an apartment, a condo, or in an assisted living facility, it's in the residential unit. And the same problem is in an assisted living as it is mom living on her own. When mom closes that front door, you have no idea what's going on. And neither does the assisted living facility. Now, it's not a nursing home. A nursing home has nurses. People are in there all the time. That's different. But an independent or assisted living where they're not in there all the time, and it's more like a wonderful social club with, beautiful apartments, which is amazing. I've been in these, and, they just blow me away. But, again, here is that way to fill in those gaps for whether their staff can't be there, whether you can't be there. Nobody can be there 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So here, again, it's a great tool.
Yeah, that's a great idea because I know that people have fallen in their, apartments in assisted living, and if you, God forbid, fall during the night, no one's going to know. And so that is really a great solution, a great
even friends.
Yes.
Right. Even think of it like this, like friends of mom. So let's say you have a bunch of people in the assisted living facility, and let's say your mom normally, she usually stays in for breakfast, and nobody sees her until like 12 or 1 when she comes out and meets everybody in the dining room for lunch. That's her normal, habits. But God forbid something happens overnight, like you said. Maybe she got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Maybe it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and something happened, and now she's on the floor. What do you do? In today's day and age, and I'm going to get on my soapbox, today's day and age, there should never be an aging loved one that lays there for hours or, God forbid, a day. The technology exists. Finally, that should never, ever, ever happen. So here is a scenario that, if you don't leverage technology, then you wouldn't know what happened to mom until at least 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock when her friends around the table are like, hey, where's Mary? Let's go take a look. That's unlike her to not be here for lunch, right? So we have to do better as a society.
Oh, I agree, Ryan. 200 to the power, definitely. I've seen, I've heard situations. I've seen situations. My own mother she lives in assisted living. She fell twice there already in a matter of a few weeks. And, good thing it was during the day and people were around. How does someone get in touch with you, Ryan, to receive, to order the Caregiver Smart Solutions? And does somebody from your company set it up for them? Does the individual set it up themselves?
Great question. So answer the first part, you can go to caregiversmartsolutions.com. Again, that's caregiversmartsolutions.com. Or give us a buzz, 888-585-5022. Again, that's 888-585-5022. Now, it's totally 100% able to be self-installed if you're so inclined. If you're in New Jersey, I'd love to install it for you. So depending on where you're calling from, depending on where the need is, we'll figure out a way to make it right for you and your family.
Awesome. And is there a one-time fee, or is there a monthly, I call it maintenance fee, but a service fee?
Yes. So there is the product. So we sell the core kit, which covers approximately 80% of all households. And it covers the most important rooms. So think of the bedroom, the bathroom, the living room, dining room, kitchen. It's going to cover the front door, the back door, refrigerator, medicine cabinet. It's going to give you temperature and humidity in the bathroom. And again, you could always add another one, for the stove if you'd like. Or if you have a bigger house, if mom has like a second floor or basement, we have kits for that too. But for the most part, the core kit will cover 80% of households. That is $599. And the monthly subscription for all the monitoring and all the fancy stuff is $59 a month. And, if anybody knows anything about, let's say, the in-home services market, where it's at least $35 an hour and you're doing a minimum of, let's say, 8 hours a week, this is a much, much more cost-effective way to, give that clarity of care for your aging loved one. And you know what? If it could delay having your loved one, let's say, go into an assisted living facility, because I know in northern New Jersey, it's not cheap. $6,500, $7,500, $8,500 a month. So if you could delay that for a couple of months, or maybe it'll help you make the decision of, you know what, let's see if we can get some help for mom in-home, and let's see how that works for the next year, because that's still way less expensive than assisted living facilities. Oh,
definitely. My mother-in-law, and this is back in 2004 to 2006, was in, it's closed now, it was Roosevelt Hospital down in Miller Park area.
Yes.
Back then, Ryan, it was $7,000 a month. Back then.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
It's expensive to get old.
It is. It sure is. This might sound like a ridiculous question, but how many people can monitor it from their phones?
That's a great question.
Okay.
So, and the reason why is, the great thing about it is not only is the app customizable, but it's also customizable to the user. And what I mean by that is, so let's say my father, he's had cancer, he's beating it, which is great. For the most part, he's okay. So I just want to monitor that everything is normal. I want to monitor that he's taking his medication, and I want to monitor that his daily activities are normal day by day. But let's say your mother has a little dementia, and it's starting to become a problem. She's forgetful. So the most important thing for you is, did she walk out the front door and, let's say, leave the stove on? So you can set those indicators to get that information first, because that's the most important. But then on top of that, yes, you can have it. If you have siblings, they can have it. If you have a neighbor, again, that's totally up to you, but you can have as many copies of the app as you'd like.
Oh, and for $59 a month? As many people?
That is correct.
Wow.
As many people, that also includes the warranty. So if a sensor, goes bad for some reason, you call us up, we send you out a new one, no big deal. But again, it's the ability to, get that clarity of care for when you cannot be there.
That is excellent. Ryan, it's people like you that are changing home care. They're changing the way people age, aging at home as long as possible. My mom, God bless her, she just turned 93 in March. She was very adamant that she was going to stay in her home, but she fell a few times, and my brother said, you can't live alone anymore. You have to, go in a facility. It wasn't safe. It really wasn't safe for her. Maybe if my mom had this, she could have been in her house longer. I don't know, because no one in my family listens to me or my suggestions.
And again, remember, the earlier the better. So even when you see your loved one at the holiday party, that the first time you realize that maybe dad's having a harder time getting around or mom's getting a little forgetful, whatever that is, that's the time to start thinking about this, because it's definitely going to make your life easier. It's going to give them more independence and dignity for longer. And everybody is less stressed and more happy about it because the outcomes are going to be better.
Absolutely. I just want to clear something for the audience so that they know. Your core kit and what you provide, you don't notify like police or anything like that, do you? The family does.
No.
If something happens.
Right now, correct. Right now, my job is to give you as much information as I can so you can make the best possible decision for that person.
That's great. I think it's really something, folks, to really consider. And Ryan is not giving me any kickbacks. I know I'm saying this from my own situation. When you lived in the situation, and I know exactly what you're talking about, Ryan, I understand it completely. When you are stressed out to the max at home and at work, it does take a toll on you. Why not ease the stress? Why not have a peace of mind? And, call Ryan and see if this is for you. Go on the YouTube channel. All this information is going to be in the blog. And I think it's great that you have this caregiversmartsolutions.com and that you have a device, you have something to help people stay at home, Ryan, and for caregivers to have peace of mind when they are out. I think it's excellent.
Betsy, I really do appreciate that. We're trying to change the world, and we're trying to, be that change maker in the world that we like to see, right? Because caregiving is hard, and I'm all about, figuring out and providing a solution and solving problems for caregivers. And again, it's really about clarity of care for when you cannot be there.
Exactly. And I can't say enough, really, how important that is. And, nobody wants to have conversations. No one wants to have conversations of, Mom, Dad, what are your wishes? What do you want for your care at home when you can't take care of yourself? Or even, and not that I'm morbid, but what do you want your end-of-life care to look like? People don't want these conversations. Here at Chatting with Betsy, I had these conversations. We need to have these conversations. First time I brought it to my mother, she yelled at me.
But it's worth getting yelled at.
Yeah. She said, no, she was very adamant, I'm going to live in my house. And, we all would love to live in our house, right, Ryan? I would love to live in my house, too. But we don't have a crystal ball. we don't know what could happen. And I just think that the more we can do to have peace of mind as a caregiver with your loved one at home, and the more we could do to have a better quality of life for our loved ones, I say, you know what, check it out. Technology is growing and getting very advanced. Now they have this AI intelligence. So, like, who knows, you might have a robot eventually come into a house to watch your loved one. You never know.
Never know. True.
I just think it's great, and thank you for coming on. I just want you to talk real quick about your book, Join the Smart Home Revolution. What is that about?
Well, what I've spent most of my career in the smart home IoT side, and what I saw there is a lot of people, we talk about the Jetsons, and the Jetsons it's incredible, right? We grew up with them. It's amazing. Jetsons, Star Trek, Star Wars, all those things. And it was about how do we start making technology work for us as humans instead of just being gadgets. So I talk about everything from the different age groups, how they use technology, what they use technology for. So, for example, my youngest son, I have 3 boys, but my youngest one, he's grown up in a world that doesn't have buttons. Everything is touch and swipe. Now, I've said this before. When I was growing up, Betsy, the phone that I used was literally bolted to the wall and had a wire coming from it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you wanted a little bit of privacy, you would have to run down to the store or go to the mall, and you would go to a store called Radio Shack, at least by us in New Jersey, and you'd buy a longer cord, which would allow you to, let's say, go around the corner and get a little bit of privacy.
That's so funny.
Those
yes.
were the days.
Yeah.
But today,
that's true.
It's touch and swipe. So how do we use the technology and benefits, right? So, for example, I do not advocate for cameras or listening devices within mom's house. I just don't think that's appropriate. With that said, I think a video doorbell is a must-have. And the reason why is giving mom or dad the ability to see beyond that door, especially if they have a hard time getting up. It might take them 5 minutes to get to the door. So if it's a Amazon or a UPS package or something like that, fine. She can say hi, leave it at the door. I'll eventually get there. But more importantly, it's about safety and security. So giving them the ability to see what's on the other side of that door. So this way, that's an appropriate use of video for safety and security of your loved one. And that's the kind of things I talk about in Join the Smart Home Revolution.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Yes, I agree. Actually, it's funny you mentioned the Jetsons, because I was just thinking about that when I said about a robot in your home, and I think I saw something on Facebook, one of those memes or a little short video where it said about the Jetsons, and here we're doing Zoom meetings, right? So, and there are robots, and the smartphones. So it was, I watched the Jetsons as a kid, and I thought, oh, how cool would that be?
Rosie the robot, right? Remember her?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it's here today. Well, I want to thank you, Ryan, for coming on. Folks, you heard Ryan Hurd. That's H-E-R-D. He is founder of Caregiver Smart Solutions, and you can find him at caregiversmartsolutions.com. And the phone number, we'll give it again, and it will be in the blog, is 888-585-5022. And where can people purchase your book, Ryan?
On Amazon, just search up Join the Smart Home Revolution by Ryan Hurd. It is the #1 smart home book on Amazon. You can check it out there, and it'll be good. Listen, Betsy, I really appreciate you having me on. This has been a blast. I love talking about this. And with your help, we can change the world for the caregiver.
Oh, you are welcome. And, yes, that's my mission and vision, to help as many people as I can. So thank you, Ryan. And that's why I love doing the show, and I have a passion to tell people about resources and people that can help them. Ryan Hurd, Caregiver Smart Solutions, is a wonderful resource. Had I known about this, if it was, in existence 4 or 5 years ago, I would have used it. It would have saved me much anxiety, folks. And I really want people to know about resources that I wish I knew about to have made my life easier as a caregiver and made Matt's journey maybe a little better for him. So you know what? It benefits both the caregiver and your loved one when you know about resources that can help you or help your loved one or help both of you. And that's what I am here for. And I want to thank you, Ryan, again for coming on. I want to thank Jeannie White, who's station manager at Passion World Talk Radio, who writes the blog. So please read the blog because information about Ryan Hurd and this company will be in there and how you can contact Ryan. And Jeannie produces the show. And I want to thank Lillian Caldwell, CEO of Passion World Talk Radio, who makes this all possible. And I want to thank you, the listeners, for listening and subscribing. And if you haven't already subscribed to Chatting with Betsy, I hope you do. It is for free. I'm on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeart, YouTube, just to name a few. And I really hope that you would share this show to help other people. Maybe you know someone who could use the Caregiver Smart Solutions device, the sensory, to know that their loved one is okay while they step out of the home for a while, because we all do need a break. And I just want to help as many people as possible, and I need you, the audience, to help me do that. And the only way that could be is if you share my show. And when you do that, you're helping me, helping other people, you're helping other people, and you're helping me to honor Matt's memory. And I always get verklempt when I say that. And as I always say at the end of my show, in a world where you could be anything, please be kind and shine your light bright, because if we were all kind and shined our light bright, it would be a much kinder, brighter world. And that's how I feel, and that's what I believe. So until we chat again, be kind, shine your light bright, and be safe. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio. Bye-bye now.